Hello, I am Helen. And this is Mimre-TV, the retro channel. For mature people, and those who prefer the good old times with real artists, real musicians, and no auto-tune. Many of you may remember Terry Jacks as a prominent pop legend from the 70s. Terence Ross Jacks is a Canadian singer, best known for his 1974 hit song, Seasons in the Sun. While it's been some time since we've heard new music from him, his passion for music remains undiminished. Instead, he has dedicated himself to environmental work in Canada, declining all performance requests. However, Terry Jacks has graciously made an exception this time, inspired by Norwegian environmental efforts. Enjoy.
A warm welcome to you, Terry.
Thank you. Good dog. Tusen takk.
Yeah. Very good.
Skål
Yeah.
is my favorite.
It's your first time in Norway?
Yes.
We just heard you sing, and your voice sounds just like it used to do, but you quit singing. How could you do that to all your fans?
I haven't sung live for 25 years. That's the first time.
Why did you quit?
Probably after Seasons in the Sun. Seasons in the Sun, I rewrote that song after one of my best friends passed away. Mm-hmm. And I didn't feel right about singing the song and making money from it. So that's probably why I stopped doing live performances. Mm-hmm. Jacques Brel originally wrote the song. Mm-hmm. It was called Le Moribond. And it was originally written in Tangiers in a whorehouse. And he wrote it about this old man who was dying of a broken heart because his best friend was goofing around with his wife. And it was quite a different song. It was sort of a very romantic, tongue-in-cheek French song. It went, "Adieu, Francois, my trusted wife. Without you, I'd have had a lonely life. You cheated lots of times, but then I forgave you in the end, though your lover was my friend." But when my friend passed away, we were playing golf, and he told me that he didn't have very long to live. And I didn't believe him, but he had acute leukemia, and 30 years ago there wasn't really a cure for that, and he died 4 months later. So I wrote the song about Roger. Mm-hmm. And how it must have been, how hard it was to tell his best friend and his father and his girlfriend that he was going to die.
Mm. I know several 14, 15-year-olds who can sing your song. You know the words of your song. You're still so popular. And I think you had a proof of that the other night, that your song is still used so much. When you went out, didn't it?
Oh, that was funny, yeah. I went into a bar and ordered some wine, and my song was playing on the radio. Yeah. And I told the girl who gave me the wine, I says, "Oh, that's me." She looked at me, walked away. She didn't believe me. So,
but wasn't there really a guy sometime who pretended to be you?
Oh, for 20 years there was when I stopped recording and stopped doing any live performances, there was an imposter, and he said he was Terry Jacks, and he would play in the United States at different places. He knew all my songs, and he'd do benefits. So people would come out, and then he'd borrow money from people. He'd tell lies. He'd say he was recording a record and he needed an advancement, and he'd write phony checks, and he'd fool around with all the young girls.
In your name?
In my name. And I got the fathers phoning me up in Canada where I live. So he had the good life while I was up in Vancouver. But they finally caught him, and they put him in jail for 7 years. But he got out after 5 years, and he started doing it again.
You're kidding.
And they came out from New York. One of the a big television show from New York came out to talk to me about this guy. And so when the interview was over with me, they said, "Well, do you have anything to say to the people?" And I said, "Well, if Terry Jacks ever comes to your town, it's not the real Terry Jacks." So here I am in Norway, so maybe I'll get shot because people will think...
How do we know?
Yes, how do you know? Maybe I'm the imposter.
How should we know? You can prove it later when you sing your song, which is live. Wow. What you've been doing in Norway before this show, you, among other things, you met the Minister of Environmental Affairs,
Right.
Torbjørn Berntsen.
Yes.
Yes.
He's quite a character.
Yeah.
I heard he said some nice things about the British Environment Minister.
You heard that, yeah.
But he was-
Unparliamentarian word. was
Yes.
it?
I was
But
telling
what did
him.
you talk about?
Well, I was telling them the troubles we have in British Columbia and in Canada. We still have some of the old forests, the old ancient forests, but they're cutting them down.
You
And
you know, our impression of the wilderness of Canada is like it's endless, you know. And you got some posters showing
well, there's
the beauty.
There's a lot of animals that are becoming endangered because when they cut these old trees down, some of them are 1,000 years old, and everything that within them dies. The bugs and the birds and the animals have to move away if they can, and it's mainly because of greed. The big forest industries are very powerful. They have control of the media, the papers, the television, and they're doing a lot of destruction. And the workforce is decreasing due to automation. So we have problems where the rich get richer and the poor get poorer. But we have to save these huge forests that we have, these old growth forests, because there's not many of them left.
Nowhere are the consequences of industrial irresponsibility more powerfully exposed than in the gripping sight of clear-cut forests. The ultimate expression of immorality created by the faceless ones. The influential forestry moguls and corrupt politicians who thrive on greed and power derived from the destruction and extinction of birds and animals, plants and insects, and indigenous cultures, whose exploitative mentality has not only become their way of life, but the means of death for our planet.
What do you do in this matter?
That's what I've been doing for the last 11 years. Since my daughter was born, I decided I had to worry about her future because the things that I loved were being destroyed by greed. So I am an activist.
Yes, I know, and you're famous to do that. You even got a United Nations award.
Well, I got
Videos.
the United Nations award for making people aware of the damage that the pulp and paper companies were doing to the coast, what they were doing to our water and our air. And the videos I make, one of the videos won 2 gold awards at the New York International Film Festival. And it was called The Faceless Ones. And it was talking about the corruption between government and big industry and how we the people have to stand up and not let this happen. And we have to utilize our vote because if we don't, there will be nothing left for our children.
It still looks fine, but the holes are sign that the faceless ones are there. When the hills are bare, there'll be no soil there for trees to fasten on, just plain raw rock. The bright woodcock will be vanished, long dead and gone. There'll be no life there for the grizzly bear, neither cougar nor wolf will prowl. No sign of flight through the woods at night will signal the spotted owl. There's blood in the ooze from the tanker's screws. There's blood in the chainsaw's teeth. There's dread in the thread of the steel cat's tread the torn earth screams beneath. There's the breath of death in the pipeline's path and the strip mine's open sore. And the pulp mills sweat a cold, poisoned threat to our children that we can't ignore.
It's powerful people that you fight against. How do they respond to your actions?
I've had a lot of threats, and they do some pretty mean things. They damaged my boat, put holes in the window, and they put contaminants in the fuel in my boat. And my mother was phoned, and my mother, and they said it was a constable from the police force, and she was told that I'd been killed, and that they would phone back. And it's very hard on my mother because she's very old. So they don't do nice things.
We wish you all the best in your work. But now back to music and to Seasons in the Sun. And I was surprised that you have never performed it live before.
I've never performed Seasons in the Sun with a band before live, no. I've lip-synced it on a few shows in the United States, but not live. And I sang it with just an acoustic guitar, I think, once or twice, but in 25 years, this is the first time in Norway.
It's a historic event to us, you know.
Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.